Yogah Karmasu Kaushalam.
Namaskar. Hello everyone. I, Dr. Sheetal, thank UGC Human Resource Development Center of Gujarat University for giving me an opportunity to connect with you and deliver my session on stress management through yoga. I thank Professor Dr. Jagdish Joshi, Professor and Director of UGC HRDC of Gujarat University. I really appreciate the core team of UGC HRDC for their excellent work in the field of academics. I remember one quote by James Chowell: "You need to be aware of what others are doing, applaud their efforts, acknowledge their successes, and encourage them in their pursuit. When we all help one another, everybody wins." With the guidance of Professor Dr. Jagdish Joshi, UGC Human Resource Development Center, Gujarat University acquired the new heights of success by getting 15th rank in India and number 1 in Gujarat. It is pioneer and created history or benchmarks by organizing the first of its kind of online refresher course in India in the year 2018-19. About 2,500 participants have attended it. Not only this, it is one of the very few HRDCs which have very fruitfully and successfully organized the programs under it. I must say that it's an honor for me to work with UGC HRDC, Gujarat University. My special thanks goes to Dr. Parikshit Mandora, Coordinator, Online Refresher Course in Physical Education, for inviting me. With this positivity, let us start with the session. My topic is stress management through yoga. Today, we are going to get some knowledge about or what the subparts of the topics areas are as follows. That is role of yoga in stress management, stress meaning and types, its symptoms, reaction to stress, stress in sports, sources of stress in sports, causes of stress management, yoga as a means to stress busters, role of yoga in stress management, need and importance of yoga. Finally, different kriyas and asanas to release stress. So, let's start with role of yoga in stress management. Friends, the state of mind and that of the body are intimately related. If the mind is relaxed, the muscles in the body will also be relaxed. Stress produces a state of physical and mental tension. Yoga, developed thousands of years ago, is recognized as a form of mind-body medicine. In yoga, physical postures and breathing exercises improve muscle strength, flexibility, blood circulation, and oxygen uptake, as well as hormone function. In addition, the relaxation induced by meditation helps to stabilize the autonomic nervous system with a tendency towards parasympathetic dominance. Physiological benefits which follow help yoga practitioners become more flexible to stressful conditions and reduce a variety of important risk factors for various diseases, especially cardiorespiratory diseases. Yoga for stress management. The stress and tensions are the universal phenomenon of social life. Stress is the body's physiological reaction to environmental stressor. This reaction can cause headache, heart diseases, diabetes, hypertension, and high blood pressure. When a person is suffering from stress and tension, is not being healthy, because a healthy person is that who is free from social, mental, and ethical problems. There are various causes of stress like lack of stability, desire to achieve the impossible setting or difficult goal, struggle to retain what was attained with difficulty. It also occurs in mind if one becomes compelled to do restless mental labor for a comparatively longer period. Emotional stress causes disturbance in hypothalamus, which is the center for sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. So, when an individual gets excessive stress consistently, the sympathetic nervous system is stimulated, which increases the functions of heart, which results in blood pressure. There is a deep relationship between the patterns of our breathing and our internal emotions. When we become angry, we breathe faster, and when we are happy, our breath is slower. The specific breathing techniques open up the lock within people, which is the source of all emotional and physical disturbances. Today, when everybody in this world is searching for peace, harmony, and happiness to reduce their stress and tension, the yoga is very much authentic and useful remedies. Friends, I think you are much aware about the benefit of yoga to manage stress and anxiety in all manners. So, first let us understand the role of stress in individual lives. So, what is stress? Modern sports are full of stress and strains. Every athlete in these competitive sports faces much kind of stressors as he is the competition and aspires for the excellence. So he is making various kind of adjustment in his social, psychological and ecological spheres. The adjustment problems have become manifold in the recent past due to multifaceted causes. An athlete does not feel satisfied with what he has achieved and is always in search of what he does not have. This constant research has led him to lead a life full of stresses and stress. Stress can be defined as any type of change that causes physical, emotional, or psychological strain. It is your body's response to anything that requires attention or action. In general terms, it is a concept meaning something that produces strain. Stress can also be viewed as a complex process where events and individual reactions to events interplay to produce physical and mental responses. Taking this view, it can be seen that it is not the environment as such that causes stress, rather, it is the person's perception of the environment. If one thing makes someone happy, the something makes others sad. Let us understand in detail. Sometimes the best way to manage your stress involves changing your situation. At other times, the best strategy involves changing the way you respond to the situation. Developing a clear understanding of how stress impacts your physical and mental health is important. It is also important to recognize how your mental and physical health affects your stress level. The best example of stress is Tokyo Olympics. There, we have seen a lot of stress symptoms on players' faces. Either it is a physical, mental, or emotional stress. So, now we switch to meaning. How we can make out stress? First, there is stressors, that is competition, heat, fatigue. Then comes perceived threat or the appraisal process. Without this perception, there is no stressor. This appraisal is neither automatic nor as simple as it appears. But this perceived threat is what brings out the stress response. Getting the term stress is often used synonymously with tension, pressure, nervousness, or anxiety. It suggests something undesirable and unbearable. Basically, stress is a destructive experience. The concept of stress has physiological, psychological, and social implications, as I said before. The term stress was popularized by an endocrinologist, Dr. Hans Selye, as he was the first scientist who used this word, borrowed from physics, to describe the result of some kind of traumatic impingement on the organism. Dr. Hans Selye says, non-specific response of the body to any demand made upon it. In fact, he used the term to designate the event of trauma affecting the organism and the word strain to denote what happens to the organism or individual. Later on, the term began to replace such words like anxiety, emotional distress, conflict, ego threat, frustration, tension, lack of security, and arousal, etc., which denote some physiological, psychological conditions. But the word stress remained popular because it tended to unify mind-body relationships. Then comes types of stress. Stress can be defined as the reactions of individuals to new or threatening factors in their environments. It can be either positive or negative. Some new situations, that is, unexpected victory in a match against a strong team, may create positive stress, which is called eustress. In Tokyo Olympic, our golden boy Neeraj Chopra challenged by one of his co-player, but the confidence in himself made a history and positivity towards goal gave him great success. Some situation can bring us positive challenges and excitement, while others are very threatening and anxiety arousing. The unexpected defeat against a weak team, not selected for contest, in spite of the excellent performance previously, too much pressure to win a match, to exhibit the peak performance within a short time may be the negative stress, which are called distress, as the athletes may feel very tense and nervous about being able to get their work done on time. On the other hand, new and pleasant experiences of the athletes may have positive stress, while the many feel anxious about their new assignment. They also anticipate them eagerly and look forward to the additional changes, rewards, and excitement in their playing situations. In all these cases, the new and uncertain situations create positive stress. We will see the symptoms of stress. Stress is visible in all the responses, like physiological symptoms. What comes under that? Sometimes there is headache or migraine, insomnia, lack of appetite, sometimes digestive disorder. It may occur coronary heart disorder or sexual disorder, even temperamental changes. Secondly, that is work-related symptoms. What comes under that? In work-related symptoms, we can see lack of concentration, affected clarity of thinking and decision making, frequent absenteeism, affected teamwork, aggressive behavior. What will happen and what are the reactions for these symptoms? We see the reactions. There are physiological, behavioral, and cognitive responses to stress. In the physiological type of responses, the effect may be increase in heart rate, elevation of blood pressure, muscular tensions, slowing down of digestive system, and release of adrenaline and noradrenaline. There is headache and backache. The behavioral responses becomes more moderate and sustained. That is, decrease in performance level, avoidance of stressful situation, and passivity or inertia. There are changes in performance, poor concentration, forgetting, and they become unsociable. The third, that is the effect of the cognitive responses. What are they? They are distortions of thinking, decrease in intellectual functioning, unproductive, ruminative, anxiety generating patterns of thoughts, and indecisiveness. There is a feeling of helplessness and hopelessness, and low level of tolerance. There is a low level of adaptability to new situations due to mental blockage. So, let's see stress in sports arena. In the field of sports, stress often occurs under adverse weather conditions, fear of injury, and formidable psychological pressure, in addition to concern about injury on the court or field during practice or competition. Even violent behavior by fans or other non-athletes elevates the stress and anxiety levels of the elite athletes. The competitive situation in the field of sports act as a threatening condition as the players and athletes are not 100% sure to win or to come to the social expectations or to achieve their targets. Most of the time, they remain under stressful conditions as they are fearful of the results. Stress may also vary considerably to the extent whether a team feels pressure to achieve success again and again or to avoid being lost in the game. A term which comes on top position may have more stress in the next contest as compared to a medical team which may experience decreasing levels of stress. Why? Why it will happen? As this team need not strive for championship. The psychological and social stresses faced by the members of the team as put by society, fans, coaches and teammates are important type of stresses on the players. These stresses, if not controlled and handled properly by the leader of the team or coach, may result in the social disintegration of the team under competitive conditions, as it may lower the morale of the team also. Sometimes many teams and individual athletes show higher level of stress and anxiety before and after competition than when actually participating in the contest. It may be due to the anticipation of a potentially stressful or dangerous situation or pre-contest anxiety which reflects upon difficult conditions and which tends to magnify stress more than actually facing and dealing with feeling experienced during actual performance. Sources of stress in sports. Individuals will experience stress when they face new or threatening factors in their environments. While individuals will vary, of course, in what they experience as stressful, there are some aspects of work that systematically create stress among athletes. Situational sources of stress. In some situations, stress can occur. So, there are two common sources of situational stress. These general areas are the importance placed on an event or contest, and the second is the uncertainty that surrounds the outcome of the event. First, this is event importance. In general, the more important the event, the more stress provoking it is. Thus, a championship contest is more stressful than a regular season game, the more critical the situation. The more stress and nervousness the young athletes exhibited, the more important an event, the more stress provoking it will be. Secondly, uncertainty in situations. Uncertainty is the second major situational source of stress And the greater the uncertainty, the greater the stress. The greater the degree of uncertainty an individual feels about an outcome or others' feeling and evaluations, the greater the state anxiety and stress. When two evenly matched teams are scheduled to compete, there is maximum uncertainty, but little can be done about it. After all, the essence of sport is to put evenly matched athletes and teams together. But the coaches should be aware of how they might unknowingly create uncertainty in participants. Sometimes athletes can experience stress as a result of uncertainty in their lives in general. Therefore, it is important that teachers and coaches make efforts to understand uncertainty that may be going on in athletes' life outside the sports environment. Secondly, personal sources of stress. Some people characterize particular situation as important and uncertain, viewing them with greater anxiety than other people do. Two personality dispositions that consistently relate to heightened state anxiety reactions are high trait anxiety and low self esteem. It stays it is stated in Scalin 1986. A third important anxiety disposition within the context of sport is social physic anxiety. So let's see about trait anxiety. Trait anxiety is a personality factor that predisposes a person to view competition and social evaluations as more or less threatening. A highly trait anxious person perceives competition as more threatening and anxiety provoking than a lower trait anxious person does. Secondly, that is self esteem. It is also related to perceptions of threat and corresponding changes in state anxiety. Athletes with low self esteem, for example, have less confidence and experience more state anxiety than do athletes with high self esteem. Strategies for enhancing self confidence are important means of reducing the amount of state anxiety that individuals experience. Hence, high trait anxiety and low self esteem are related to high ended state anxiety reactions in athletes. Then, social physic anxiety. Social physic anxiety is a personality disposition defined as the degree to which people become anxious when others observe their physics by Hart, Larry, and Regiski in 1989. It reflects people's tendency to become nervous or apprehensive when having their body evaluated. People with high social physic anxiety report experiencing more stress during fitness evaluations and experiencing more negative thoughts about their bodies than others do. So, friend, this is all about stress. Now we will switch to yoga as our topic is stress management through yoga. We have learned, we have understand about what is stress and what are the consequences of stress. So let's something about yoga, how yoga manage stress. I think us all are about stressors in day-to-day life after understanding yoga. Now we switch to yoga as a remedy to overcome stress. How much it is useful to get out from the state of anxiety. First, let us understand about yoga. What it is actually. As you all know, the life is always full of challenges, and life without some turmoil is not only impossible but is also undesirable. So, the need of the day is that education should lead men to higher and higher towards achieving the noble and immortal ideas of truth, beauty, and godness so that he leads a peaceful life. If men believe in God, they may become good and moral. It make him good citizen. Every individual has a distinctive style of behaving. This unique quality of individual's behavior constitutes shape to personality, which includes feelings, values, reactions, prejudices, attitudes, perceptions, etc. Psychologically, personality development means the development of physical, mental, emotional, temporal makeup. A considerable amount of research has shown that yoga has benefits on mental health, including a reduction in proneness to depression and increase in emotional positivity and also increase in ability to deal with life inevitable stresses inevitable stresses. Yoga is an activity for the body, mind and soul. In the modern period, Vivekananda said yoga is defined as a system of personality development, transformation of consciousness and integration in the, within the human system, leading to the complete well-being. Sri Aurobindo defines yoga a methodical effort towards self-perfection. It is a process by which the limitations and imperfections in man are washed away, which benefits our all around personality at the physical, mental, intellectual, emotional, moral, and spiritual levels. How the yoga word derives. First, we all know all these things about yoga. The word yoga is derived from Sanskrit word yuj, which means union to join or to yoke. The union being that of the personal self and the impersonal self. Maharshi Patanjali defines yoga as Chit Vritti Nirodh. He says it is restraint of mental modifications, means controlling of thought waves of mental thought waves entering the mind Chit is the intellect including the ego and the senses. Patanjali believes that knowledge is objective and thoughts are waves which come from outside and are caught by the mind as an aerial would catch sound waves and turn them into words and music. Control of the thoughts waves means getting rid of false identification of the thought waves with the ego sense. So let's see the importance of yoga. We can see the need also in this modern era how much yoga is needed. Yoga is a practical method of gaining perfection through disciplined activity, resulting in a control of human nature, both physical and psychological. It is a practical discipline by which the suppression of mental status through the practice of spiritual and physical exercises. Through yoga, we are unable to direct the flow of life energies through the body organs and thereby withdrawing those very energies to inner spheres. Through yoga, the total development, the real personality of all the following aspects can be attained. Physically strong, mentally balanced, intellectually sharp. So I can say yoga develops resistance to bear the favorable and unfavorable conditions and to control emotions of everyone. There are four types of tolerance that develops through yoga education. Tolerance of negative feelings, tolerance of emotions, tolerance of progress of others, or tolerance of jealousy, tolerance of others' ideology even. So I can say that yoga education develops equanimity. It is a state of mind in which opposite situation of pleasure and pain, benefit and loss, victory and defeat, respect and disrespect, etc., receive the same reaction. So, practitioner of yoga learns to control emotions which generally arise due to the feeling of sad, anger, greediness, pride, violence, jealous, etc. The practitioner of yoga gives the visibility to God. He thinks that God in all things and all things in him. This experience is not a momentary vision that comes and goes after a flickering moment of blissful awakening. One who receives yoga education cannot take wrong step. His ego and sense of separateness can never rise in his mind. He attains the eternal source of all happiness. He recognizes the whole universe as inseparable part of his own nature, his own projection. Naturally, he shows compassion for all creatures, highest love for the entire universe of things and being. The practitioner of yoga learns to control emotions which generally arise due to the feeling of sad, anger, and all that pride, violence, and jealousy, etc. This all about the importance of yoga and how it gets relief from all concern, stress, and anxiety. Now, let's go for some remedies to heal stress through yoga activities. As you all know, yoga itself is a remedy of all consequences of life. But some asanas and kriyas are really helpful to release state of stress and harmful conditions. That are yognitra, pranayama, surya namaskar, and some of asanas which are as act as remedies to come out from all that. So yoga is a means to come out from stress anxiety levels. We will see it in very relative manner in sports arena. Let's talk about Yog Nidra. I think you have heard about this. It is a conscious sleep. Yog Nidra now prescribed by doctors in many countries both as a preventive and curative therapy in the first three stages of stress related diseases. The word is by Swami Satyanand Saraswati in the year 1998. I am thinking about 1998. Swami Satyanand Saraswati says that it is needed. So now we are in 21st century. So we must need yoga in our day-to-day life to relieve from stress. So let's see Yoga Nidra as an empowering meditation therapy. There are several meditative and relaxation techniques which are very common. Yoga Nidra is probably a best known technique to stimulate the complete physical and emotional relaxation. It is an empowering meditation that starts with relaxation. It systematically challenges and it systematically changes and cycles through brainwave states, lowering beta and increasing alpha, theta, and delta for the better. Yoga Nidra literally changes the fluctuations of the mind by slowing down brainwave. During the practice of Yoga Nidra, the instructor asks the practitioner to visualize certain symbols and images with a witnessing attitude. If the symbols and images are selected properly, then they are in accordance with the symbols of the unconscious. An abstract association is created between the guided imagery and the associated repressed experiences of the unconscious. For example, if the teacher instructs the practitioner to visualize the river or swimming pool, this may bring out a past traumatic childhood experience in which the practitioner was fallen into the river or swimming pool. The practitioner observes this associated painful experience with a witnessing attitude, which helps in cutting off the personal identification with the experience. When the personal identification ceases to cut off the painful experience associated with the dog is repressed again. In this way, the practice of visualization brings the unconscious repressed desires, experiences, conflicts, and frustration to the conscious level and then cuts off the personal identification with those experiences. As a result, the unconscious is cleared up. Swami Satyanand Saraswati has said that yognindra is now prescribed by doctor as we have seen before, that is much necessary in modern era also. In yognidra, an attempt is made to activate the parasympathetic system and slowly a balance between the sympathetic and parasympathetic system is achieved by inducing complete physical, emotional, and mental relaxation. In this way, the practice of Yoga Nidra counteracts strain stress. Corrington concluded that Yoga Nidra has its most widespread application as a preventive measure to be practiced by healthy, active people as a means of relieving accumulated tensions, increasing stress resistance, and overall efficiency, and preventing the development of stress related diseases. The main benefit of Yoga Nidra is improved mindfulness, but studies have also pointed towards promising effects on sleep, chronic pain, depression, and anxiety. Research has also linked Yoga Nidra to improved self-esteem in burn patients and college students. Savasana is a pose in a supported lying down position and a practice of relaxation and integration unto itself. Yoga Nidra is a fully guided meditation practice which is usually experienced in the posture of Savasana. During the practice of Yoga Nidra, the instructors ask the practitioners to visualize all the things which I said before. It is very much useful to come for conscious to unconscious. So, we will see the Yoga Nidra posture and how we can do Yoga Nidra. Lie down straight on your back on the yoga mat in the Savasana position with your eyes closed, begin taking deep, slow breaths to relax. As you continue taking deep, slow breaths, focus your attention on the left foot. Keep your foot as relaxed as possible and slowly move upward to your left knee, left thigh, and waist. This all you have to do by mental state. You have to be in Savasana, in physical state. Then repeat step 2 with your right leg while keeping your eyes closed and taking deep, slow breaths. You must become aware of your entire leg and its existence. Gradually move your attention to the rest of your body parts like stomach, chest, navel region, hands, shoulders, neck, and face. When you slowly move your attention upward, Focus on your palms, fingers, wrist, forearm, biceps, and shoulder. Also think about your throat, neck, back, and forehead. Just to realize yourself of your entire body's presence and try to stop your mind from wandering around. Continue taking deep, slow breaths and experience your body's sensation and all of its different parts. Relax your mind and body for 10 to 15 minutes. After a few minutes, maybe 5 to 7 minutes, turn to your right and keep gradual, slow breathing. Repeat all the above steps and stay like that for a few minutes. Then slowly sit up and open your eyes. This is all about yognitra. Friends, I have more emphasis on yognitra because it's a meditative pose that is actually a remedy to come out from stress and strain. So let's switch to pranayama. As the wind drives smoke and impurities from the atmosphere, pranayama derives away the impurities of the body and the mind, as Maharshi Patanjali says. You are a living, pulsing, vibrating being. Stop breathing and you stop living. Learn to observe your breath and you learn to observe yourself and your moods. Control your breath and you control your moods. Try it. Instead of sitting quietly reading, put this book aside and begin to breathe jerkily and irregularly. Before long, you will begin to feel edgy, uneasy, or even angry. Reverse the process and breathe slowly and quietly and evenly. And soon a sensation of peace will slide over you. Good breathing is the first thing taught by any yogi, and nothing will give you so good a return for so little effort. There are many unusual breathing patterns in yoga, each with its own purpose, and so effective is controlled breathing that the techniques are considered by some to be best kept secret because of their strength. Everyday breathing is usually left to haphazard control by the body's autonomic reflex and the unconscious mind. Pranayama, on the other hand, aims to bring the whole breathing system under conscious control. This is done by becoming intensely aware of body mechanisms which are involved and by deliberately modifying the rhythms and force of the breathing. For example, the lungs are consciously operated in the lower middle or upper lobes during exercises. By advanced techniques, this can even be carried out to the extent of operating a single lobe in either the right or left lung. Rhythms are studied by dividing the action of breathing into these categories. Purak, that is inhalation, kumbhak, that is held in breath, then rechak, that is exhalation of breath. Obviously, an enormous variety of breathing patterns can be achieved. Swami Yogeshwaranand considers that there are 50 classical pranayama, let alone the many variations devised from time to time by individual yogis. For beginners, the patterns are based on a count of three to match the three lobes of the lungs. A typical first exercise would be 3 in, 6 out. Means 3 times you have to take your breath in like 1, 2, 3 and 6 out, that is 3 in and 6 out. The exhalation being twice as long as the inhalation. With all this keeping in mind, one can go with the pranayam named Anulom Vilom and Kapalbhati to get relief from physiological and psychological stress. So, this is a picture of Anulom Vilom. It's a good therapy to release stress and strain like mental, physiological, psychological, emotional, or behavioral stress. So, what are the benefits of Anulom Vilom Pranayam? It helps to cure mental problems like depression, anxiety, stress, tensions, etc. Even alternate nostril breathing is an ideal breathing technique for maintaining your heart healthy. Improve the working of the lungs. Best breathing technique for boosting your memory. It makes your brain sharper. So without any doubt, I can say Anulom Vilom is the most suitable pranayama for all. Now, see the Kapalbhati action. We have to take breath, we have to inhale and exhale step by step as shown in this picture. So, what are the benefits of Kapalbhati Pranayama? It generates the heat in the system to help dissolve toxins and waste matter. It improves digestion, improves the function of kidneys and liver. The daily practice of Kapalbhati can cure all general intestinal problems. It improves the blood circulation problem in whole body parts. It also helps in regaining poise in emotions. It calms your mind and rejuvenates your digestion system. It's all about pranayama that we have to learn much and more about Anulom Vilom Pranayam and Kapalbhati. So now I switch to asanas. As I have said, to get rid from stress and to manage your stress, you can go more in pranayama, yognitra, asanas and surya namaskar. So we will see the asanas. The Hatha Yoga Pradipika, an authentic thesis on Hatha Yoga, says asanas arises steadiness of body and mind, freedom from disease and lightness of limbs. It has link between established that yogic asana or physical postures and mudras combined with pranayam and meditation have a tremendous therapeutic effect on the body, mind and spirit. Asanas are regarded as the most important system of physical culture ever invented, considering its amazing understanding of how the body works. Yogic asanas constitute a physical science that also comprehends all aspects of consciousness. The purpose of the asanas is to create a free flow of life energy in and out of the body in order to perfect its functioning and coming out from all stresses. There are some yoga poses that will help reduce stress and anxiety. So some asanas are Paschimottanasana, it's a seated forward. Sukhasana, Sukhasana will lengthen your spine and open your hips. Then Anand Balasana and Balasana. We will see the benefits of asanas. It increases in muscular strength and flexibility. This is one of the most obvious and visible outcomes of a regular asanas practice. Yoga techniques are designed to lengthen the muscles while strengthening them and increasing the flexibility. Yoga promotes linear muscle compared to muscles gained from gym. So it's better to do yoga than gym activities. It is also a good practice for athletes. The restorative yoga practices combined with pranayama techniques can relieve sore muscles and relieve tension. It increases mental focus. The asanas encourage the practitioner to bring the mind under control, to go deeper in the poses. This has a lasting effect on the mind that can be applied outside of your mat. Because researchers have found that yogasana increases productive mental states. So the benefits of yoga go beyond the mat into your workplace. The third and most important, that is spiritual benefits. Peace and calmness comes into your life by doing yoga. Life becomes less stressful and enjoyable. The subject becomes unaffected by opposite kind of situations. One doesn't get affected by heat or cold, heat or cold, success or failure, pain or pleasure. The body can handle high voltage by doing various asanas. We make it ready. Here, the body can handle the pran, not electricity. So, these are the asanas that is we have learned about. Now we switch to Surya Namaskar. As you know, sun salutation. Surya Namaskar is the ultimate asana, I can say. So, one has to go with Surya Namaskar in their daily life. If you start with one or two, but it should be in proper manner. It should be in proper, you have to do it in proper dress and with proper steps. So there are 12 steps in Surya Namaskar as you can see in this slide. So what are the benefits of Surya Namaskar? It helps to lose weight, better to make better digestive system, ensures regular menstrual cycle, brings down blood sugar level, improves anxiety, helps your body detox. So friends, yoga education is essential need of present era because yoga deals with healthy personality. As Maharshi Patanjali gives 8 steps, that is Yam, Niyam, Asan, Pranayam, Pratyahar, Dharana, Dhyan, Samadhi in his Ashtanga Yoga to achieve self-culture. The first three concern with ethical purification, the middle two with psychophysical control, and last three with progressive control of physic apparatus, culminating in samadhi. All these 8 folds of yoga are the sequential steps to achieve high performance in every aspect of life. Yoga is scientific system of self-discovery, self-maintenance and self-cure. To know the internal working of the body from the psychological and yogic points of view is an advantage, but to experience the practical result of this knowledge is the outcome of regular practice of yoga techniques to overcome all the stresses. I hope you enjoy the session. Again, I thank UGC HRDC, Gujarat University, and Professor Dr. Jagdish Joshi for giving me an opportunity to share some ideas with you. Thank you once again and have a great time ahead.